Hello, welcome to the next video lecture on strength of materials. We had already defined what is volumetric strain. When a member is subjected to external loads, it induces stresses which causes deformation in all directions. Hence, there will be a change in volume also. The ratio of change in volume to original volume is called volumetric strain. So, epsilon V is equal to dV by V, where dV is a change in volume, V is the original volume of the member. Now we will see what is the volumetric strain in a member which is subjected to three mutually perpendicular stresses. Consider a rectangular block like this. Let us keep it in coordinate system XYZ. Let it be of length L, width B and depth D. Then the original volume of the block will be L into B into D. Let us have a tensile load of Px on this face. Then opposite face will have Px in the opposite direction like this. Let Py be the tensile load acting on this face. Then opposite face will have Py in the opposite direction like this. Let Pz be the tensile load acting along z direction. Then the opposite face will have a force of Pz in the negative z direction like this. Now by the definition of normal stress, stress in x direction sigma x can be written as Px divided by the normal area. Normal area for Px is B into D. Similarly, I can write sigma y is equal to Py divided by L into B and sigma z is equal to Pz divided by L into D. All these three stresses considered are positive because they are tensile in nature. Now let us take the original volume of the block V is equal to LBD. In order to get expression for volumetric strain, let us take logarithm on both sides. We get log V is equal to log L plus log B plus log D. Differentiating this equation, we will get dV by V is equal to dL by L plus dB by B plus dd by D. But here dV by V is change in volume by original volume, which is volumetric strain. dL by L is a ratio of change in length to original length, which is strain along x direction. dB by B is a change in width to original width, which is a strain along z direction, epsilon z. So I can write the above equation as epsilon V is equal to epsilon x plus epsilon y plus epsilon z. So volumetric strain is the summation of individual strains along the three directions. In order to simplify it further, let us consider one of the face which has a stress sigma x like this. Because of stress sigma x, let us say this face deforms like this. So this is the original geometry and this is the deformed shape of the geometry. Now let us think of what is the strain along sigma x direction. We know from Hooke's law sigma is equal to E into epsilon, which gives epsilon is equal to sigma by E. Hence, strain along sigma x direction now will be sigma x by E. Now, though we are applying stress only along x direction, there will be deformation in the perpendicular direction also because of Poisson's effect. We called that strain along that direction as lateral strain, whereas sigma x by E is called longitudinal strain. We defined Poisson's ratio as the ratio of lateral strain to longitudinal strain. We also know that Poisson's ratio is a constant for a material. So when we know Poisson's ratio, we can always get lateral strain when we have the longitudinal strain. So here the longitudinal strain is sigma x by E. So lateral strain should be nu into sigma x by E. But this strain will be compressive in nature, or in other words, sigma x is tensile, so it increases the dimension along its application, but laterally it decreases the dimension. That is why strain in the lateral direction should be taken as negative. So in general we can say tensile stress in one direction produces tensile strain in the same direction and compressive strain in the other two directions. That is, sigma x produces a strain of sigma x by E in the x direction and strains of minus nu times sigma x by E in the other two directions, and so on. We have to apply this to a case where all three stresses sigma x, sigma y, sigma z are present. We will try to tabulate the different values of strain along three directions. First column is tensile stress applied in three directions. Next three columns are for strains along three directions. Consider the tensile stress sigma x. It produces a strain of sigma x by E along x direction, a strain of minus nu times sigma x by E along y direction, a strain of minus nu times sigma x by E along z direction also. Similarly, a tensile stress sigma y produces a tensile strain of sigma y by E along y direction and strains of minus nu times sigma y by E along x and z directions. Similarly, the tensile stress sigma z produces a tensile strain of sigma z by E along z direction and compressive strains of mu sigma z by E along x and y directions respectively. Now let us calculate the total strain along each direction. So we will get a total strain of sigma x by E minus nu times sigma y by E minus nu times sigma z by E along x direction. This is obtained by adding all the strain components along x direction. Similarly, when we add all the strain components along y direction, we will get a total strain of sigma y by E minus nu times sigma x by E minus nu times sigma z by E along y direction. And in the same way, we can obtain the total strain along z direction as sigma z by E minus nu times sigma x by E minus nu times sigma y by E. That means this term indicates the total strain along x direction, this term indicates the total strain along y direction, and this term indicates the total strain along z direction. Now I can rewrite these equations as epsilon x is equal to 1 over E into sigma x minus nu times sigma y plus sigma z. Epsilon y is equal to 1 over E into sigma y minus nu times sigma x plus sigma z, and epsilon z is equal to 1 over E into sigma z minus nu times sigma x plus sigma y. These set of equations are called equations of generalized Hooke's law because this set of equation relates stress components linearly to the corresponding strain components. We have already derived the equation of volumetric strain, which is given by the summation of epsilon x, epsilon y and epsilon z. We can substitute epsilon x, epsilon y and epsilon z from the equations of generalized Hooke's law. We will obtain it as 1 over E into sigma x minus nu into sigma y plus sigma z, which is epsilon x, plus 1 over E into sigma y minus nu times sigma x plus sigma z, which is epsilon y, plus 1 over E into sigma z minus nu times sigma x plus sigma y, which is epsilon z. Take 1 over E as common and you can combine sigma x, sigma y, sigma z terms as sigma x plus sigma y plus sigma z. And in the remaining terms you observe there is one new sigma y here, there is one new sigma y here, there is one new sigma x here, there is one new sigma x here, there is one new sigma z here, there is one new sigma z here. We can combine all of them as minus 2 nu into sigma x plus sigma y plus sigma z. Now if you take sigma x plus sigma y plus sigma z by E as common, you will get this expression. Determine the changes in length, width and the thickness of a steel bar which is 4 meter long, 30 mm wide and 20 mm thick and is subjected to an axial pull of 30 kN in the direction of length. E is equal to 200 gigapascal and Poisson's ratio is 0.3. Also determine the volumetric strain, change in volume and the final volume of the bar. This is a block, steel bar. Length is more compared to width and thickness. So it is actually a bar. So I will write that. It has a length of 4 meter. 4 meter is 4000 mm. 30 mm is the width, 30 mm is this direction, and thickness is 20. Let us say this is 20 mm. It is subjected to an axial pull of 30 kilonewton, means along the direction of length, like this, it is loaded. It is one-dimensional loading. 30 kilonewton is a load applied. E and mu is given. E is 200 GPa and mu is 0.3. We have to find out the change in length. Change in length means dl. I will call this as p, this as t or d, depth, anything. And this is length. Just consider this as x-axis, this as y-axis. And along the width, call it as z-axis. Y, this is z. Sigma x can be written easily. Sigma x is what? P divided by a. P is along x direction, so 30 into 10 power t divided by area. Area perpendicular to x-axis is how much? 20 into 30. Can calculate this as 50 MPa. Sigma x is 50 MPa and there is no load along y direction or z direction. So sigma y and sigma z are 0. And we can calculate what is DL using PL by AE expression. What is P here? 30 kilonewton. What is L here? 4000. What is A here? 30 into 20. What is E here? 200 gigapascal. So we can find out what is DL here. So DL is 30 into 10 power 3 into 4000 divided by area is 20 into 30 into E. E is 200 into 10 power 3. We calculate this, comes out to be 1 mm. So change in length we have found out. So after loading, the bar becomes 4001 mm. But though there is no load along Y and Z direction, deformation will happen along Y and Z direction also because of Poisson's effect. In case of tension test also, when you pull the tensile specimen apart, along with increase in length, laterally dimension will reduce, diameter will reduce. So since it is a rectangular bar here, in the Y and Z direction, width and thickness will also reduce. That we should be able to find out using Poisson's ratio. We know the Poisson's ratio nu is defined as epsilon lateral divided by epsilon longitudinal. Now longitudinal strain is nothing but dl by L. So I can write lateral strain is equal to nu into epsilon longitudinal, or nu is what? 0.3. Epsilon longitudinal strain is dl by L. We already know dl and also L. We can substitute that 0.3 into 1 divided by 4000. Comes out to be 0.75 into 10 power minus 4. It is lateral strain, and this lateral strain should be equal to what? D by D, or it is also equal to dB by B. This is strain along D direction, means Y direction. This is strain along Z direction. Now we know D and B. We can calculate what is DD and DB, and they are nothing but change in width and change in thickness. Sorry, change in width. DB, right? DB is equal to B into epsilon lateral. B is how much? B is 30 into 0.75 into 10 power minus 4. So when you multiply this, you'll get a dB of 2.25 into 10 power minus 3 mm. See, change in the width we have found out. Similarly, change in thickness or depth, which is DD, nothing but original thickness into lateral strain. Thickness is what? 20 into 0.75 into 10 power minus 4. If you calculate, comes out to be 1.5 into 10 power minus 3 mm. So we are able to find out what is the change in length, what is the change in width, and what is change in the thickness. Also determine volumetric strain, change in volume, and the final volume. Means we have to find out epsilon V, dV, and V final. And volumetric strain expression we already know. Epsilon V is what? 1 minus 2 nu divided by E into sigma x plus sigma y plus sigma z. Substitute 1 minus 2 into 0.3 is nu divided by E. E is 200 into 10 power 3 into sigma x is 50, but sigma y and sigma z are 0. When you calculate, you will get 1 into 10 power minus 4. This is what volumetric strain. This is nothing but change in volume divided by original volume. What is the original volume of this block? The volume of this block is nothing but L into B into D. So change in volume dV is nothing but V into epsilon V, and V is nothing but 4000 length into width into depth. This is the original volume into the volumetric strain, which is 1 into 10 power minus 4. If you calculate, you will get 240 mm cube. So how do we calculate the final volume? Change in volume we know, original volume we know. Final volume will be change in volume plus original volume. Vf is equal to V plus dV, 4000 into 30 into 20. This is V plus 240. It comes out to be 2400240 mm cube. This is the final volume of the bar. A metallic bar of 250 mm into 80 mm into 30 mm is subjected to a force of 20 kilonewton tensile, 30 kilonewton tensile, and 15 kilonewton tensile along x, y, and z directions respectively. Determine the changes in volume of the block. It is also a straightforward problem, but you have to calculate sigma x, sigma y, and sigma z, all three. I will just try to give a hint for this. I will write the metallic bar as a block like this because it has length, width, and height, all three. It's like this. This is 250, this is 80, this is 30. It is subjected to a force of 20 kilonewton tensile along x direction. Let us say this is my x direction and this is y direction, and this is z direction. So 20 kilonewton load tensile means it will be here like this. This is 20 kilonewton. 30 kilonewton tensile load along y direction means it will be like this. This is 30 kilonewton load. And 25 kilonewton load along z direction means it is somewhere here like this on this face. This will be 25 kilonewton. Now using this, I can calculate what is sigma x. It is px by ax. P suffix x means load along x direction. A suffix x means area normal to x axis. Observe this, 20 kilonewton load is acting on this face. It is normal to this face. And what is the area of this face? Area of this face is 30 into 80. So this sigma x is nothing but 20 into 10 power 3 divided by 30 into 80. Similarly, sigma y is py by ay. And py is what? Load along y direction. And ay is what? Normal area to y axis. So observe 30 kilonewton load is acting on this face. It is normal to this face. And what is the area of that face? This area is 250 into 80. So your sigma y should be written as 30 into 10 power 3 divided by area 250 into 80. So you got sigma y also. Similarly, sigma z can be written as pz by az. What is pz here? 25 kilonewton. What is az here? Area normal to 25 kilonewton load. 25 kilonewton load is acting on this face. It is normal to that face, or it is normal to z axis. And what is the area here? Area of this is 250 into 30. So sigma z can be written as 25 into 10 power 3 divided by 250 into 30. Now sigma x, sigma y, sigma z, all three are calculated like this. You have the equation for epsilon v, volumetric strain, in terms of sigma x, sigma y, sigma z. Poisson's ratio and Young's modulus are given to you. Substitute and find out what is dV. You're supposed to get a value of 19.62 mm3. It is also a similar problem. A cube of 100 mm side is subjected to 10 MPa tensile, 8 MPa compressive, and 6 MPa tensile along x, y, z directions respectively, or planes respectively. Determine the strains along the three directions and the change in volume. Take Poisson's ratio 0.25 and E is equal to 200 gigapascal. He has directly given you the stresses here. Instead of calculating stress, you have to use directly the stresses. He says it's a cube of 100 mm dimension. So let us draw a cube like this. This is the cube. This is x direction, this is y direction, and this is z direction. And he says 100 mm is the side length. So 100 here, 100 here, 100 here. And it is subjected to 10 MPa tensile along x direction. So here it is subjected to 10 MPa. Observe that it is not the load now, it is stress directly. MPa is a unit now. In the previous problem, it was given in kilonewton, so it was load there. And in y direction, a compressive load of 8 MPa. Compressive means it should be like this. This is the compressive 8 megapascal stress along y direction. This is y. And other one is again tensile along z direction. On this plane, it will be 6 MPa. So given parameters are sigma x is 10 MPa, sigma y, observe, I have to take it as minus now. Very important. You have to take it as minus because it is compressive. And sigma z is 6 MPa. You have to use the volumetric strain expression, substitute all the given parameters and solve it. You will get a value of 20 mm cube as a change in volume. Strains along three directions also you can find out using these expressions. Sigma epsilon x is equal to sigma x by E minus nu times sigma y plus sigma z, and so on. Generalized Hooke's law. I hope you can try this problem also.